This is an empty table that I filled up with a bunch of land for a brand new Lego city. And today I'm gonna build a bunch of crazy houses for minifigures who are trying to move in. Oh, and I also put them through some chaos. Okay, our first figure is this guy, Bricked Up Billy. And for him, I'm gonna make a wooden shack. Also, after building each house, I'm gonna put it through the destruction test by simulating stuff like earthquakes, meteors, avalanches, to see if the houses are capable of surviving in the city. Okay, to build the house, I first found a good spot and then elevated the house to make a platform to build on, and then started making some brown walls with a bunch of fire-looking texturing and windows. Since dirt shacks are always super musty, dilapidated, and look like they're about to fall apart if you touch them, I tried to match their look and then slapped on 2 walls on the sides, and bro, I think it's time for an interior. I channeled my designing skills and turned it into the ultimate room for Bricked Up Billy. There's a couch, a bunch of random junk behind it, some pizza. Bro, why does this guy have so much apple juice in here? Like, this is excessive, dude. And to get off the juice, he's got an apple juice dispenser in the back, and then a garbage can to burn his noise complaints. Also, there's no bed, so bro's just gonna have to crash on the couch. Okay, now Bricked Up Billy's got a room to live in, but we also gotta build his house a roof so that he doesn't get rained on. Instead of building a boring flat roof, I made this roof where I put tiles in different directions to make it look super old. And then I spent 2 hours making another large roof in the back with 2 flaps on each side, and then added in a front patio area with seats and more apple juice. And with that, Bricked Up Billy's house is done. Okay, now for the destruction test, I'm gonna give this house an avalanche to see if Bricked Up Billy can stand there against it. So I got myself some balls that I'm gonna roll down the staircase to hit the house. As someone who's trying to get a D1 scholarship from Harvard for Lego building, I better not fail these challenges. Let's go! Avalanche! Okay, the roof got wrecked, but the house itself is still standing. Okay, the next figure is a billionaire named William Harold Jeremiah Franklin Cornelius Archibald Maximilian James III. And I first built William Archibald's driveway in the front to store his whips. And then in front of that, I'm gonna build a pond. I made a rock outline and dumped water in it.
A man has fallen into a man in Lego City.
And then threw in a bunch of animals that the owner probably forgot he owned, like a fish, a duck, and a turtle. Okay, now we gotta build the actual house. I made this sick tile design for the first floor and then whipped up a living room with a bunch of fancy architecture, like a desk made of glass, a kitchen, seats, and a butler, and added in some support beams to make the second floor. In the second floor, I included a decked out bedroom for Willie. I made a fancy bed, a TV, a tea stand, a desk, and a statue of a tiger that cost more than if I was sold on eBay. Okay, then I made some fancy walls for the second floor and made them match modern architecture, aka big black and white boxes with glass. Then I made roofs for the big black and white boxes with glass. Guys, you don't have to tell anyone, but I ran out of window pieces, so I used the door. And filled one of them up with a garden to make an eco-friendly roof that Billy flexes about to all his friends. Okay, and with that, the main house is pretty much done and looking juicy. But the area around it in the street is still looking empty. So I added in a bunch of plants, colorful flowers, and other green stuff to make this place smell of diseases. And I also threw in some solar panels to power this house. But I had to stop at this red line because beyond this, we're gonna make something else. A line of fans that are obsessed with Billy Maximilian Archibald V. But let's see if they can survive the destruction test, because for this, we're doing an earthquake. So I modified my desk so that it can aggressively slide back and forth, and now we can test it. We got everything here, let's do this. Okay, after a few minutes of shaking and baking, all that happened is the cars have moved, the tree died, and the house slid over. But other than that, we good. Okay, now that we're halfway through, I'm gonna do a special bonus and try and build the world's smallest livable house in between these two. I used some pink to build up some walls, and then inside the room I added a bed, a chicken leg, and other stuff that people own. Then I added a second floor, even though that made the house bigger, but we doing it to make the destruction test better. And then inside the room I added a plant to give the figures oxygen, and then pizza and a chair. Okay, then I finish it up with the roof, and here's the final house, a super compact room for minifigures to live. Okay, now instead of mindlessly destroying hours of work, I'm gonna do an experiment so that Harvard might give me that scholarship. I'm gonna turn the house into a block of ice and melt it to see what happens. Will it be stuck together forever? Will the pieces be ruined? Will I become the Green Ninja? All will be answered in 24 hours time. But in the meantime, let's make the next house for the GOAT Bob. And since he's a Minecraft boy, I'm gonna build him the ultimate Minecraft house. Right, so I started up his house by laying out an outline that we're gonna build up. I'm also gonna add a birch door and a bunch of windows all around it so that the women of the city can see Bob. And the men, because he's just the GOAT. And now for the inside of the house, I sliced it into a utility room and a bedroom. For the bedroom side, I included a bed, some hay bales, a chest, a pig that Bob adopted, and a toilet. And then for the utility room, I included everything that he would need, like this juicy cake that he's gonna eat and some TNT. Okay, now for the second floor, I'm gonna make it the combat floor. The first thing we need to do is protect the bad guys of the city from Bob. So I built a cobblestone fence. Bro, this ain't stopping nobody. So I made it taller. Okay, then I started cooking up these walls with stone and glass, and then threw in a dark oak door that I stole directly from a set because I was lazy, and now we can make the interior that I'm calling the Bob Cave. I made the Bob Cave the ultimate combat room with a chest for Bob to store his netherite, and then an armor stand with full diamond, an item frame, and everything else the goat needs. Okay, now that the Bob Cave is done, we need to protect it from outsiders and build a roof. So I made this staircase styled roof where I stacked a bunch of brown bricks, and after doing that for like a solid hour, it was done, and now we're moving to the balcony area where I whipped up Bob a fire and water source and then a bunch of items that he can use. Okay, now the main house is done, but I'm also building Bob a farm on the side with some crops so that he can fuel up for the destruction test. But before we do that, I'm gonna check on the ice. I went outside,
Stop the cap.
and set it down to melt. Sergeant Sausage is frozen, and after 3 hours of a satisfying time lapse, it is melted. And by the looks of it, nothing bad happened. Sergeant Sausage was free, the pieces seem better than before, and nothing broke. Let's just hope we can say the same about Bob, because now it's time for his destruction test, where I'm gonna throw this ball to simulate a meteor hitting the house.
We got our balls, and on the count of three. What am I doing?
That's literally 8 hours of work down the drain. Where's Bob gonna sleep?
Whopper, 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 whopper.
Okay, next, Bob's homie Hot Dog Man is also trying to move in. So for an idea on what to build, I bought this. Mother, I'm sorry I sold the dog, but we need this. And pretty much I grabbed my red and tried to replicate this as a house. I first made the inner layer, aka the wiener itself, and then tried to add a door, but I didn't own a red one. Bruh, it's just mustard, guys. It's mustard. Okay, then I kept piling on more and more meat and added squiggly lines of mustard throughout until I ran out of red. So I moved on to building the buns, and since I want them to be big, juicy buns, I used a bunch of 2-stud wide bricks, and after stealing enough of my sets and added them on, I smacked on a roof and finished the buns. But we ain't done there, because I also needed to make an interior so that Hot Dog Man can actually live inside. I added in his hot dog cart, which also doubles as his bed because he never leaves to grind, and then there's a crate that I filled up with uncooked sausages, and to finish it off, he's got a display of his best work. And with that, the house is done. Okay, now for the final and most destructive destruction test in the history of destructiveness, I grabbed 2 of these Lego pullback monster trucks that are capable of doing this to our previous house. And what I'm gonna do is have 2 cars sandwich the house from both sides to see if this absolute masterpiece crumbles. Okay, in 3, 2, God give me a hot dog. No! And just like that, all my dreams went down the drain. But at least Hot Dog Man survived. Alright guys, stay tuned. I'm finishing the city next week with more juicy builds, and I'm coming for Harvard.